Welcome to Writer's Life, a place where you get the sights, sounds, smells, tastes of my particular writer's life, where you get the truth about the writer's life. We're live. And subscribe if you haven't already. Punch the like button, tap the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on one single exciting video. I have Mr. John Hemingway with me right now. I'm coming from Italy, and he's way down in Florida. And we might be having a little bit of sound issues. I'm not so sure. It sounds fine on my end, but on John's end, it doesn't sound so great. But hopefully it's my end.
I'm using mic, whereas you're using the computer.
I'm using the computer mic.
Sometimes not the best thing.
Yeah, it's not that I didn't bring my mic with me, since I just use carry-on stuff. But we'll make it short and sweet and see what happens. Buongiorno, John. Come sta?
So, what is your question, my son?
I have a question. How is your podcast going these days? Your new podcast? Tell us about
my podcast?
Yeah, tell us.
It was fun. Well, I've done 11 of them so far. It's not something that has gone viral, to put it mildly. I'm just short of maybe 2,000 hits, I guess you could say, or whatever they call it, views. Yeah, 2,000 views or something like that. I've been doing this since I think the first one I did actually on the 23rd of December. And I've more or less been doing one every week. Sometimes I have technical problems. Like the last one, he had some problems, technical problems there with, and I had some problems too with the, what was it? The platform that I was using at the time, which was Riverside, but we're not using that anymore. We use, what is it called now? StreamYard, yeah.
StreamYard.
Yeah, and it works well. And the latest addition to it is the intro, which my co-host there, Christopher Merchant, did. He had some problems on the last one, though. I think he got a really bad laryngitis, sort of stuff like that. And in fact, one of the people who was watching it saying, I can hear you and the guests perfectly, but your co-host was, mute. That's because, in fact, he couldn't speak.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it every time. But are you enjoying it? Are you having fun with it?
Yeah, in the beginning, Riverside had a lot of sort of technical things for me. It was a learning curve, but then many times they would just make it so, because then they joined up with Spotify, and everything they wanted you to do for Spotify first. I said, I could give a fuck about Spotify. I want it on YouTube. Yeah. And they just made it really hard for you to sort of package the whole thing and then send it up to YouTube. And I thought, well, this is screwy,
Right.
But it's been interesting.
It's to me, it's like when I started writing, when I became a professional 25 years ago, I never dreamed I'd be doing like these types of shows. And
well, in fact, I thought, when I dreamed of becoming, a published writer and everything, well, they send you on tour, and they promote you through all the traditional ways of doing it. But as we both know, that doesn't exist anymore.
No, that's
one, because they're probably just cutting costs. They don't want to send you on a trip. Two, well, it depends on the color of your skin. Okay, if you happen to be black, or you are a woman, or maybe you're a man who's pretending to be a woman, that sort of thing, then yes, of course, no. take you quite seriously.
Right. Yes.
And yes, Mr. Zandri,
Right.
or Miss Zandri,
Right. Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
so fucked up these days. This is what
Right.
we have to do.
Right.
Not that it's horrible to do this. Okay, we can have fun, we can joke, and everything else.
Right.
And say whatever we want, basically, because no one really cares what the hell we do.
No.
And so it just depends on the people who want to read our books. And it's interesting sometimes these days. I come across someone, you're working on a new book. Oh, why are you going to tell me? Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But
now, John.
It's,
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Senor Hemingway is the author of Murder on the Florida Straits, a great piece of noir. And before, in the green room, when we were trying to figure out the sound, we were talking about how life is.
Do you want me to get a copy of the book so you can show everyone?
If you got it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll get it. It's 2 secs.
Good book, by the way. I should be filling out this. What do they call this? Dead air. There's a good title, by the way. Maybe a story about a radio DJ, like the last one. The last one, and somebody murders him. It's called Dead Air. That's my story.
Okay. Here you go. Right there.
There it is.
It is the most recent one. Murder on the Florida Straits. Okay.
Great cover.
Kind of a sort of Grand Theft Auto sort of motif.
Yeah. Terrific.
And this is straight up noir, femme fatales, gin joints, guns, the Everglades, alligators, pythons, whatnot. And CIA, trannies. We're allowed to say trannies on this. Yeah,
I think so. Aren't they still called trannies? Or
are you triggered by that word?
Yeah. Yes, I need to go hide in my safe space.
This is the one I wrote before that, which was
Pamplona.
my interpretation of The Sun Also Rises. Okay. 100 years after, more or less, he published his take on the Fiesta de San Fermin, so Bacchanalia, which is not a Spanish word, it's an Italian word.
That's an Italian.
But I liked it,
Terrific book.
And then the first book, straight up nonfiction. This is a memoir, and that is my father, that young boy there with the 410, and that's my grandfather, Ernest, and they're in Idaho. And it's a story about their relationship, basically.
I read that
this
book.
One is really well known.
I read that book cover to cover one Christmas. Like, such an easy read, and it broke new ground that no one had ever read before.
So those are the 3 books. You can find all of them on Amazon. Where else are you gonna find it? Actually, no. One of them was published by a real publisher, not Amazon. So he said, although Amazon is a publisher, fuck's sake, I mean, all these books that they've got coming out and everything. They're probably one of the biggest publishers on the planet by this point, I would say.
Yeah. I did 9 books with Thomas and Mercer, which is an Amazon imprint. A long time ago, almost now. But you're working on the sequel to Murder.
The sequel, yeah. Well, it's got a provisional title, which is Echeverria. Yeah, the guy's name is Ron Echeverria. Okay, he's the brother of one of the characters who was killed in the first book, that is Murder on the Florida Straits. So he finds out about it. He was in Arizona. He decides to go back to Miami, where he's from. And he hooks up with another one of the characters, the Dr. Eddie Diaz. the one who windsurfed from Havana to Garden Key. And they say, okay, we got to find out, what happened to, who killed your brother. This is what Eddie's saying, And it's the usual sort of, run around. But this time we have, luckily, an illegal from Venezuela who actually is part of one of the really nasty gangs there. I think it's called the Tren de Rajo, something like that. And they send him into the States. And they say, don't worry, it's going to be pretty easy. We'll give you a motorcycle to go most of the way. And then, if you're getting tired of that in Dallas, you can hop on a United plane because, you're an illegal. So you can do whatever the hell you want now. You can vote. They give you money. Just about everything.
Cell phone.
A cell phone, yeah. And so it's becoming more the story of this young man and the people he has to kill, because the bankers are still high on the idea of getting rid of all the MDs for some reason. Maybe because they didn't jab enough people or something like that. And this one banker in particular, who was also in the other book, has given this young man from Venezuela a list of about 30 different medical professionals. And he says, you need to kill them all. Okay?
Oh, excellent. I love it.
And so that word stands. I mean, there's also, there's guns, there's a lot of fucking around, stuff like that. Good-looking women. Miami has lots of good-looking women. So.
Right. James.
There we go.
Good-looking.
Miami is my hometown. I was born and raised there. So I have a right to say these things about the town. It's not as if I'm trying to sort of impersonate a citizen of Miami. I am a citizen of Miami. Bienvenido a Miami.
Right.
As Will Smith once said. He was trying to imitate being a citizen of Miami, but he was not a citizen of Miami. We all know.
Okay. But you lived with your uncle Lester had a big, he helped raise you. Lester being Ernest Hemingway's little brother. But didn't he?
Oh, Les.
Didn't he create his own country?
Yeah, he did. New Atlantis.
That's right, New Atlantis. That's cool.
It was basically a barge that he towed out into international waters, and I think they had some kind of house on it, and he made his own stamps and made people honorary citizens, I think. Perhaps if they paid some money, I don't know. It didn't last long. I think it lasted until there was, the next hurricane that came along, and boom, that was it.
Yeah.
And at that point, his wife, Doris, decided that before he used up all the advance for his book, a biography of his brother, my brother Ernest, they were going to buy a house, and they did. And they bought a really nice one on San Marino Island, which is in between Miami Beach and Miami on the Venetian Causeway. Yeah, that's what you get.
Beautiful.
And I spent about 4 years there with his family, going to school there. I went to Beach High in my first year. And and then the last two, I went to boarding school in Connecticut. And then finally, I went to UCLA back when it was still a place that taught interesting things instead of just turning you into a Marxist activist or something like that.
That's right, like it is now. Yeah, that's just too bad. I don't even know.
Yeah, it was a great university. I mean, the library of the UC system is, I think, second only to the Library of Congress.
Wow.
I used to love going in there, just going through the stacks, stuff like that.
Right. Wow. Being that I'm in Italy, I wanted to talk just a little bit on, you might not even know a whole lot, but on your
Do you have any
opinion,
Italian audience here?
I don't think anyone in Italy watches me, but it's possible. Maybe one or two, but
Possiamo continuare in italiano, se si vuole.
sì, io
Okay.
capisco un po' italiano, molto un po', molto male. Ernest started off in Italy when he was 19 in the war, and he was injured and fell in love with his nurse. So Ernest had a rich history starting at an early age with Italy that lasted really a lifetime. He went through different stages, even though everybody equates Paris with, I think, Hemingway, at least the Lost Generation. But people forget that, he spent a ton of time in Italy through the years. And I'm in Florence, but he did not like Florence. And I have a theory about that. I think he didn't like Florence later on in life because that's where his third wife, Florence, Italy, because that's where Martha Gellhorn had an affair when they were married.
I think he had a lot of close ties with Venice.
Yes.
And Veneto.
Love
that area there.
Venice.
And Lignano, Saviodoro, that area. Because there was an Italian count there, who had a house which was specifically for hunting there in the wetlands for ducks.
Right.
And it's still there.
Like,
and it's quite interesting.
Murano? Was it on Murano? Or?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Was it on Murano?
Excuse me?
The house? Which island was it on?
Oh, the island. Well, there were a series of islands, and it's, what is that area called? Very interesting.
Murano or something like that.
Very natural, as it was back, say, for instance, when he was there shooting with this count.
Right. Beautiful area. I was there about 7 years ago. I went out to those islands. I was trying to figure out.
Going back there this June for the 40th anniversary of the Premio Hemingway, which is an important award for journalism that's given in Italy every year.
Tell us a little about that.
So they invited me and Christina over there. So we're going to be flying over there. And I'll be speaking in Italiano.
You guys
giving out the prizes.
You have a gift for languages.
You know, like a big salami or something like that. Or mortadella.
Mortadella. Oh, I wish I could be there for that.
Tiramisu per te.
Beautiful.
Tiramisu for you, for everything that you do.
Right.
There we go.
Lots of wine. That's great. So how many days will that be?
Let's see. We're going to be over there in Italy about a week. Let's see. The flying is from Miami to Madrid, and then from Madrid to Venice. And then we're going from Venice back to Madrid, but we won't be going directly to Miami at that point. We will be going to stay in Madrid for about 5 days, and then we're going to go see the fiesta in San Fermin.
Oh, beautiful.
Then I think on the 15th, we fly back to Miami.
Okay, beautiful. So you're combining when was the last time you were at the Running of the Bulls?
Oh, and then after that, on the 15th, actually, we fly back to Miami. Then we're going to the Hemingway Days festival in Key West, where they have their version of the Running of the Bulls.
Yes.
It's insane. You see all these old men out there with Hemingway, Karsh sort of sweaters on,
Right.
in 100 degrees.
Right.
I'm thinking some of these guys are just going to sort of pass out from heat stroke. It's
Oh my God.
hot.
What John is referring to, the Karsh sweater, is the very famous photograph of Ernest Hemingway taken, I think, in 1957, when he was about my age. And he has the beard and the white hair and the Karsh turtle.
Yeah.
The Karsh was the photographer, and the turtleneck, and it kind of became synonymous with like the old man in the sea, and he looked like the great big fisherman who was about to harpoon a whale, kind
Yeah, but to wear something like that in Key West in
you couldn't
July
oh, jeez,
is death.
pass out.
Literally. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know. I've been trying to get to Hemingway Days for years and years and years. Maybe this will be the year I get there. We'll have to see.
Will you be back in the States then? Or are you going to be still
I'll be back in the States. I'll be back in the States at the end of April. I'm over here now, like
the end of May?
End of April.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just here now for 6-7 weeks, just looking for an apartment, looking where I want to live, more or less. And I think I've narrowed it down to one area. And as long as it's
Where
Tuscany.
who lived? Where Ernest lived?
No, where I'm living.
Oh, your grandfather.
No, see, John can't hear me very well. That's why we're having a little
Oh,
trouble.
you got your house. Yes, I know that thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, while I'm here, I'm doing like a little apartment hunting. For
Cleaning up, painting the walls, getting rid of the roaches. That's the thing.
yeah, just like where I am now is perhaps the most boring place on earth. It's a residential area, but the city center is only a couple tram stops away. Oh, we got some people jumping in. Hi, Tim.
Oh, Timothy D says, I finally catch one of these while it's occurring.
Yep. Tim's one of my old punk rock buddies. But I think I've decided on what area I'd rather stay in all of the time. So that's where we're going. All right, Hem, can you hear me?
Sort of.
What's the timeline on the new one?
Right.
When is it going to be out?
Okay. There are 23 minutes that we've done so far.
Yes. But what? You can't hear me very clearly. What's the timeline on your book, your new book?
It says live. Where it says live, it says 23 minutes and 33 seconds, 35 seconds.
Right. But can you hear me? Can you hear me when I'm asking? Can you hear the question I'm asking? Here, I'll
Timothy B says again, hey,
I'll
I
type a comment.
usually see these after the fact and you can't comment. Well, you can comment now. What is your question, Mr. Zandri?
Post. It.
Oh, okay, when's it going to be out? I would think, hopefully, I want to finish it by June. Get it ready, published, maybe on Amazon, so that's not a big problem. Which means everything has to be done, all that sort of stuff. I'm breaking up. Oh no, we really can't hear you. You can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
What about me, Tim? Can you hear me?
Hello? I could turn it up, maybe. Let's see. Hello? How's that?
Well, we're about ready to kill it anyway.
Stronger? Oh, not you, Vince. Yeah, well, Vince is...
Yeah, I'm breaking up.
He's basically trying to be non-aggressive, inclusive.
Yeah, Tim will have some stuff to say on that.
Anyway, the novel. Okay, are you talking about? Yeah, my novel. I've got about 30,000 words on it right now. It's going pretty fast. So I think, I know I have to get this done by June, because then I want to sort of have the presentation, the first showing, where I take off the covers and stuff like that. And you see it new. And that's going to be at the Hemingway Days in July. So if you're down there, you can buy a copy. Timothy D. Vince,
All right.
say something.
I know. He's in Italy where the internet is 2 empty cans of Planters peanuts and a couple of elastic.
Actually, no, I was there for a while. And in the beginning, yeah, it was like that. You had the two phones going like that. But then they got, very fast internet in the Milano area, because I lived in Milano for many years.
Right. I'm supposed to have super fast internet over here, so I don't know. All right, but anyway, time is up anyway. For the hearing impaired, John, it was nice seeing you. I will talk to you again soon.
All right.
Soon.
Presto.
Presto.
Ci sentiamo presto.
A presto.
Okay.
A presto.
Okay.
With that, go in
E
peace.
mangia, devi mangiare, sei troppo magro.
See, go in peace and serve the Lord.
Okay.
All right,
La messa è finita, andate in pace.
Tim, thanks for chiming in, brother. Ciao, ciao, everybody.